Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari ST games, some of which I grew up with and some of which are new to me. Today is one of the former. Today we're looking at Oids, which was a 1987 release from FTL, developed by a guy called Dan Hewitt. This was originally developed for the Atari ST in the first place and was later ported to Apple Mac. There's actually an Amiga version out there as well, but that didn't come about until about 2014 by reverse engineering the ST version. So yeah, this was very much, pretty much an ST exclusive at its time of release. So this was not a particularly well-known title from FTL's catalogue, at least in its native America. FTL was primarily known for its well-received Dungeon Master RPG series, which I must confess I've still never played. I must get around to that at some point. But yeah, this became a cult hit in the United Kingdom in particular, where it got rave reviews and was very, very popular. And it remains something of a cult hit to this day. So it's quite an interesting one to take a look at. I must confess I never really enjoyed it that much when I was a kid because it uses the sort of asteroid-style turn and thrust controls that I always seem to struggle with a little bit if you've watched the other instalments of my Atari A to Z series, particularly the Flashback Classics ones. But let's have a look at what we've got here. So here is the box for Oids, this delightful purple affair here. And we've got a sticker there showing that it's distributed in the United Kingdom by Microsoft. Here we have the back, giving a sort of rough idea of what the game looks like. It also promises the Oids construction kit on here as well, so you can actually make your own levels and distribute those to your friends as well on here. So if you couldn't read that on the screen there, rescue the Oids from the fiendish biocretes who are turning them into vending machines and household appliances. Fuel your ship, charge your shields, and blast off to adventure as you challenge planetoid after planetoid of devious gravity traps, treacherous teleport puzzles, and wave after wave of helljets, heat seekers, and burst orbs. So basically what we're looking at here is a game that's a bit like sort of the retro classics Thrust and Gravitar and so on, but this was designed to be slightly faster paced than those games, so it's a little bit more arcadey, a little bit more immediate, and a bit harder from what I recall, although stuff like Gravitar is no joke either. So the box you've got here, it's one that opens with a flap at the top rather than coming with a lid as a lot of ST boxes do, although this was fairly common for FTL's boxes at the time. And inside we've got this neat little arrangement here where the disc sits neatly in this little compartment here. It's just one disc for the game. There we go. And then in the other part, we've got a few bits and pieces of paper, as always. So first thing I've got here is we've got a Microsoft software collection catalogue. So this includes a selection of stuff that Microsoft had available at the time. So Microsoft were mostly a distributor of American games at the time, I think. So there's quite a lot of these you might know from a different publisher. So we've got stuff like Bermuda Project, we've got Defender of the Crown, Strike Force Harrier, I think they actually might have developed that one themselves. Balance of Power, that was a Mindscape game. Orbiter, which is a Spectrum Holobyte space shuttle simulation. I think I've actually got a copy of that down here, thinking about it. And then on the back, we've got some stuff about their graphics and desktop publishing packages here. So at the time, they had Fleet Street Publisher, which was a massive deal, a huge deal. So a lot of the magazines at the time were produced using Fleet Street Publisher. For those who don't know, the Atari ST was kind of positioned as an alternative to the Apple Mac at the time, and certainly in terms of its interface and stuff, it was quite similar. So things like Fleet Street Publisher and stuff were seen as an alternative of spending money on a Mac and doing desktop publishing and that sort of thing. But that's not what we're here to talk about today, is it? We're here to talk about Oids. So next thing we've got in the box here is we've got this lovely press release here. Because this was a review copy that my brother would have had when he was reviewing things for Page 6 New Atari User. And the press release for this is very simple. It says, Oids! Everybody who has played it can't tear themselves away from it. In fact, we're too busy playing it to write a press release. Try it yourselves. That was it. So yeah, that was the entire press release for the release of Oids. They were so confident in this game that they didn't bother to write a boring old press release. And then finally we've got the manual here. So this is a relatively no frills affair. It's all in black and white. But we've got a bit about the story here. All about freeing the Oids. The evil Biocretes, rulers of the wealthiest parallel universe in the cosmos, have created a race of android slaves they call Oids. The Biocretes treat the gentle, peace-loving Oids worse than space debris. They abuse them in every way imaginable. While the downtrodden Oids toil in filthy, dangerous energy factories, the Biocretes live lives of gluttony and greed, savouring the fruits of the Oids' labour. The Oids are allowed to rust from neglect of their basic need for oil. Often they are forced to work with one or two limbs completely rusted off. When the Oids are finally fatigued to the point of collapse, the Biocretes tortuously melt them alive to build new Oids. They're just stupid heaps of metal, the Biocretes rationalise. They have no hearts. We built the Oids, so we have the right to treat them as we please. The Oids may not have hearts, but they do have souls, and no creature, whether biological or mechanical, should be treated like the Biocretes treat the Oids. You, as a member of a compassionate race, were so moved and angered by the mistreatment of the Oids that you vowed to devote your life to freeing the Oids from the yoke of Biocrete slavery. You joined the intergalactic organisation Save Oids, and through your courage and passion, quickly rose to the ranks to V-Wing Pilot Commander. And so on. So then we've got a bit of information about how the game controls, and interestingly, it relates it to some other games as well. So rather than sort of giving you instructions based purely on this game, it describes the V-Wing spacecraft controls are similar to a lunar lander. So when flying it, you must take into consideration the normal forces of nature: gravity, acceleration, and velocity. Gravity is always pulling at your ship, so you need to occasionally thrust upwards to counteract this pull, and so on. Then we've got controls there. Lovely default Atari 2600 joystick there. So again, if you're not familiar, the Atari connector on joysticks was pretty standard from the 2600 right up until the Atari ST. So if you wanted to, you absolutely could use Atari 2600 joysticks on the Atari ST. And I mean, they were as good as anything really, but yeah, there are better options available now, let's put it that way. And then the rest of the book is just a bit about how you earn points and how you rescue the Oids and all that sort of thing. And then at the back, we've got a section about the game editor as well. We probably won't look at that directly today because that's a whole thing to examine in its own right. But yeah, there's comprehensive instructions on how you can use that as well. And then included with the package, there's this thing called the Game Librarian. So the Game Librarian provides a way to copy galaxies, which are sets of levels you've created yourself, from the game disc onto a separate disc we call a library disc. There are several reasons to save galaxies onto library discs. The primary reason is to keep backup copies of galaxies you create, or to save copies of galaxies you wish to modify on the game disc. Second, you may wish to create library discs to give copies of galaxies you create to your friends. Third, the game disc may run out of room and you may make library copies of galaxies you wish to delete from the game disc. So basically what you can do with that is you can create a disc that you can then give to a friend who's got a copy of Oids, and they can then play your levels as well. So prior to the days of being able to easily share levels via the internet, handing a friend a floppy disk was probably the best we can do. Anyway, that's Oids. So let's stop talking and let's go and play it. Okay. Here we are with Oids from FTL, published in the UK by Mirrorsoft, by Dan Hewitt. So, as I said in the intro, I was never hugely fond of this game growing up, but that was mainly because I wasn't very good at it. But, I recognised that it was very well known and well regarded, and it's considered to be quite a cult hit in the UK these days. So, it's probably a good idea to have another look. Yeah, as usual, if you see any crack messages, that's because to record the footage on this, I'm using an emulated version from a pirate copy. But as you've seen, I do have the original copy of this as well. So, alright, so we have a bunch of galaxies included on the disc for you to get started with. Then you've got the level editor and stuff as well. Like I say, we're not going to get too much into that today because that could be a whole episode by itself. So if we start with Novoids, which is theoretically supposed to be the easiest one, let's jump right in and have a look. So we begin with this cool sort of first-person loading screen, which takes us up to the first level. And here we are. So the game structure of this is pretty much like things like thrust and gravitar that I mentioned before. So you have your ship here that you can thrust and rotate, and you can fire your shots like this, and you also have these Nova Bomb things that are more powerful as well. So your aim in each mission is to locate the various Oids and to rescue them. And so you do that by positioning yourself appropriately, blowing open structures, and when appropriate, blast open the Oids factories, which are those little semicircular things you can see just below me there, and rescue what is within. So if we just get rid of this structure first. Oh, narrow miss. There we go. Right, now apparently when you blow these things open, you need to be careful not to destroy the Oids within. So it's best to just fire a single shot if you can. Blast it open and collect the Oids without killing them. So this is a bit I always had a bit of trouble with. Is the accuracy required for this. And making sure you don't kill anything. And then you have to land to pick them up. So let's just see if we can land a little bit better than my childhood self could. Oh, too much. Come on, gently. There we go. And they then hop in your ship. And off you go. And your ultimate aim on each level is to rescue 8 Oids, I think it is, altogether. Although, obviously, if you kill some of them, then it's going to be less than 8. But yeah, I think for the most bonus points, you need to take a whole ship full of them back at once, which is 8 of them. Not sure how fast you can land and still be safe, so I'm being very cautious at the minute, because like I say, I remember being absolutely terrible at this game when I originally played it. I don't believe there's a time limit or anything though, so you can take your time over it. Alright, so let's head in this direction. Oh, I remember those things. Okay, yeah, so those things that are making the funny humming noise, those actually sort of push you away. They actually sort of have forces. So if you're trying to approach them, you see I'm actually getting pushed back from them. So you can break through that, but you just have to thrust a bit harder than you would have to otherwise. And then, of course, if you blow them up, then, yeah, nothing to worry about. Alright, let's find some more Oids. Another repelly thing there. Ooh, it's actually got quite a strong force on it. Right, you also have these Nova bombs, which you can apparently set off by double tapping the fire button. There we go. Yeah, and they cause a large explosion. So they're not a smart bomb or anything like that, but they do cause a larger explosion than normal, and that can presumably catch stuff in the blast, meaning you don't have to be quite so accurate. So you can either fire that with a double tap of the fire button, or if you're concerned about accidentally setting that off, I think there's a keyboard option you can do as well. Oh, maybe there is a limit of sorts. You see the little green bar at the top left of the screen. I think that might be a fuel level. I mean, it's going down very slowly, but it is going down. So we're probably going to have to make sure we complete all the challenges the level has in store for us by the time that runs out. I think there might be a way to replenish your fuel as well. I have a feeling that one of the things I destroyed towards the start with the flashing red diamond... Yeah, one of those things. The thing with the flashing red diamond, I have a feeling that is like a fuel dump or something like that. I did glance over the manual before I started playing here, but... yeah, I didn't happen to see that bit. I do like the level of detail in this. Like, you look at your ship and it's got... Can we land on that? I don't want to risk it. Let's just blow it up. Yeah, if you look at your ship, it's got little wingtip and tail lights on it, and they're flashing on and off as you're going, and all the buildings have got lights on them. So it's all incredible amount of detail, considering that we're working with a 320 by 200 16 colour screen here. And I've got to say, I'm enjoying this a lot more than I did as a kid, because I'm not as impatient and as impulsive as I was when I was a kid. So I understand now that this sort of game you have to kind of take your time over a bit more and be a bit more careful with. And that's what makes it much more rewarding and playable to enjoy. So oh, too much. Let me just thrust that way a little bit. Just to stop drifting to the side. Oh no, we're drifting the other way now. Oh well, that's fine. Alright, land please. There we go. Hop in. Right, they're all waving now. So that means we're actually ready to leave. We've only got 7 somehow for some reason. Maybe we accidentally killed one of them at some point. Yeah, because there's the mothership. That means we can actually leave the level now if we want to. So in order to do that, we have to dock with the mothership. Which we do thus. 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 There we go. Got there in the end. I was concerned I was going to embarrass myself by crashing into it, but here we go. Okay, so on to the next planet. I always remember when I first played this being slightly disappointed that the whole game didn't unfold from that first-person perspective. Obviously now I recognise that that probably wouldn't have been possible. Or at least wouldn't have resulted in the same game. Because it's not as if we were short of space sims during this era. That rapid fire shot's really satisfying. And there's a limit to how many shots you can have on screen at once, but yeah, it is incredibly satisfying. And I'm doing that just by holding the button down, because remember, if I double tap the button, I'll fire a Nova Bomb. Oh no! That's going to kill some Oids. Yeah, I think I killed one there. Because I'm sure I saw 3 come out. And now there's only 2. Sob. Hop in, lads. It's all fine. I won't kill you, promise. Now, obviously, you don't have to destroy all the buildings, either. But doing so will score you some more points, so... And this is the age of games that were all about points. And as you could see on the title screen, it does actually record your high scores as well, so... Unlike some games from the era, there is an incentive to take aim for a high score because you can see what your all-time best is. As long as you remember not to rate protect your disc. Now this is actually something that I've really come to realise as I'm revisiting a lot of these games, is that a lot more games than I thought... Oops, I did not mean to do that. You see why you don't want to keep tapping the fire button now. It's fine. Oh dear. And you see the 2 little Oids that were in my spacecraft there, they burn to death when I crash. Oh well, this second level's not going so well, is it? Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, one thing that I've really come to realise revisiting a lot of these games now is that when I first played them, my dad was extremely strict about keeping original discs write protected, which is not an unreasonable thing, to be honest, because the 16-bit era is where we started getting viruses and stuff like that, and if you had a write-enabled disc and you picked up a virus, then yeah, that could easily spread to the other stuff in your library if you weren't careful. I'd say it was kind of common sense to keep everything write protected so you didn't damage your original software. One potential way around that is you could back up your software onto floppy disks and then use those copied versions to save your games. And in fact, we've already seen a couple of times on this series with things like the Microprose flight simulators. That's the reason why we had backup copies of those in the box with the original versions, is so that we could use those backup copies to be able to take advantage of the save game functions and the campaign play and that sort of thing, which required the game to be able to access the disk and write stuff to it. But yeah, in a lot of cases, if you write protected your disk, it just wouldn't tell you if it was trying to save something, and it couldn't. So in the case of games that potentially did not mean to do that, but it's fine. So yeah, in the case of games that could save high scores and stuff, there's quite a lot of them that were available for the ST that I didn't realise had the ability to save stuff over the long term, simply because the sort of culture in my family was to write protect everything. And I'd like to clarify that obviously I don't resent my dad for his insistence that we write protect anything or anything like that, but yeah, I just find it interesting to see how many games did have some sort of long-term score and game saving solution in place. Oh, missile! Hey! Oh, that's 3 more Oids down the drain. Okay, so we killed all the Oids on that planet, so it's on to the next one. Hello everyone, I'm here to rescue you. Please don't ask what happened to the last guys. Everything's fine, everything's absolutely fine. I'm here to rescue you, not kill you in a burning ball of fire. We're starting to get some more structures now. What do these do? I remember them doing something unusual. Oh, they bounce your shots. Right. Okay. So you can't destroy those things, but they do bounce your shots off them. So you can presumably do some fun trick shots with those. But I'm not going to attempt that right now because you've already seen my general level of competence with this game. Don't kill someone. Right. Let's rescue these guys very carefully. Down. Down, please. Gravity, do your thing. There we go. Everything's fine. Right. Let's go through this cavern here. Oh my god! Up! See what I mean? I suck at this game. That wasn't even a difficult maneuver and I still blew it. Right. Let's be a little bit more careful, shall we? Right, so slow the downward velocity and just drift gracefully through this cavern here. Maybe drop down a bit. If you can hear any strange noises in the background, my cat is snoring. Because I can certainly hear it through my headphones. So if it's coming through on the microphone, yeah, that's what that noise is. I got some stuff from Amazon, and she really likes Amazon boxes to sit in. So she's currently napping in one. This is Meg, not Patty. Patty generally doesn't sleep, except and she sleeps quite well at night time now. I'm sure there were... Oh, yeah, there we are. There's 3 standing in one place. Yeah, she sleeps quite well at night time now. She tends to come and sleep with us on the bed. Usually taking up rather more bed than she needs to, but such was always the way with cats. Meg just likes to sleep all day, really. Because she's a fat and lazy cat. And I can respect her for that. Right, another factory here, so let's carefully maneuver. Oh no, don't kill him, don't kill him. Well, you can land reasonably heavily, okay. Alright, so we've got 6 of them. I think I killed one of them, so there should theoretically be 1 in here, maybe? Oh, maybe there's more than 8 on this planet. Yeah, there are. Pretty sure you can only hold 8 in your ship, though. Let's not land in the middle of those trees. That looks like disaster waiting to happen. Let's just land on this nice flat bit here. Right on top of this Oid's head. Hop in, boys! Someone's shooting at me. I don't like that. Right, good to go. So we now need to find the mothership. Oh, yes, that is the shield. If you pull back on the joystick, like in various ports of asteroids, you can engage your shield, which allows you to bounce off walls and protect yourself against bullets and all that good stuff. So I need to make rather better use of that, I think. Because... oh, what's that? Is that a thing that's going to fire stuff at me? So your shield strength is indicated by the green blob up on the status bar. So you can recharge that by tapping the space bar. You go into a recharge mode then. You have to continue without making use of your shield. So it's fairly generous with that. You just got to remember to use it if you look like you're heading for disaster, which is not always the easiest thing to remember. I wonder what oh, there's the mothership. Right, carefully down here. I think one thing I'm finding is that the gravity in this isn't particularly heavy. Nice, I got an extra life for that. Wonderful. Oh, we carry on. So there's more Oids to rescue, but you can only hold 8 at once. But you do get an extra life if you take a whole ship full in one go. I think, maybe. Something good happened. Missed. Yeah, so the gravity in this isn't super heavy. So you see, I'm actually continuing to just sort of hang in place for quite a while. So you can be kind of slightly more aggressive with the thrusters than you think you might be able to if you're more accustomed to stuff like thrust and gravitar and that kind of thing. Alright, so there's 3. Nice shot. And then a smooth descent back downwards to pick up our friends here. Doing much better on this level. And you know what? I'm having a good time. I was kind of dreading revisiting this game because I knew it was so well regarded and I knew so many people liked it. And I was just really conscious of the fact that I didn't like it all that much growing up. And it was a game that I would boot up and try to like. Because even then I knew that it was very well received and I knew my brother liked it and I knew that various other people I knew had enjoyed it and it had good reviews in magazines and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I just struggled so much with the controls and the idea of inertia and gravity and that sort of thing as a young kid that I just found it really difficult to enjoy. But yeah, coming back at it with more experienced eyes now, I'm having a good time with this. The descriptions I read kind of suggested it was going to be a lot more frantic than it is as well, but it's actually still reasonably sedate. I don't know if sedate is the right word, but you certainly got time to line up your shots and carefully, accurately fire where you need to and that sort of thing. So you don't need to sort of rush around, and you certainly don't find yourself in a position where you're uncontrollable. Which is kind of a beef I have with a lot of inertia-based turn and thrust games, is it's very easy to get yourself into a situation where it feels like you're just spiraling out of control. And that makes it very difficult to avoid death. Although, again, I think a lot of the stuff I hold that kind of prejudice for is probably down to just my inexperience with that sort of control scheme. Not being able to handle it properly, and maybe not even sort of quite understanding it correctly when I was a kid. I don't know. But yeah, I'm certainly doing better with this game than I ever did as a young'un. Which is good, because it means I can now enjoy a game that is regarded as something of a cult classic. This might even be one that I come back to outside of this series. Because especially with stuff like the level editor in there, I imagine that if this is still considered to be a cult classic, which everything I've read kind of suggests that this is still quite a popular game for the Atari ST, then there may well be sort of plenty of user-generated levels and stuff out there, which would be quite interesting to explore at some point. So maybe a one-off special video at some point looking at the construction set and some of the user-generated levels that people have done over the years. Because you just know that someone somewhere has archived all the old discs that they had growing up that they made with the construction set. And I bet there's still people making levels for this now. Right, we done? We're done. Good. Let's get out of here. Hopefully without killing these 7 Oids. Oh, no. No, down. Leave. This way. Bye-bye. As you may have noticed, these levels wrap around as well. So, if you keep going in one direction, you'll eventually end up back where you started. Or, you can just go back the way you came, like I am. Whoop! Shoot! Ooh. Thrust! Yeah, that shield is a lifesaver. And it seems to be damage-based rather than time-based, which is a very welcome change to something like the Asteroids format. So you can just keep that shield active if you need it. Recharge it as appropriate. There's the mothership. Nicely done. Another extra life. This is probably going to go on for a little bit longer than intended, but like I say, I'm enjoying myself, so let's stick with it for now and see how far we can get. Right, on to Vasteroid. Okay, so what have we got going on here? We've got some stuff on this cliff top. And continuing over here. There's... Ooh, that's a horrible place for a thing. Oh, that's really unpleasant. Stop that. Go away. Well, that was not very nice. Let's try that again. What even did that to me? I didn't even see where that came from. Okay, so there's sort of a good place to land on the end of that. I don't know if you want to call it a peninsula or something, but... Okay, whatever did that unpleasant thing is not going to do it again, because it seems to have destroyed itself in the process, so that's fine. Okay, let's open up this one first. And get these chappies. I feel like this level is probably going to be the death of me, so we'll see. Alright, next please. Oh, nice shot. Right, you silly boys, you can come over here. Because I can't land on pointy bits. Because I'll die. And I'm sure you don't want to die, so, you know. Land. Land. There we go. Are they coming? Or do they... Yes, they are. Good. I was concerned that they needed to be on screen for them to actually know the ship was there. But no, it does seem that they will come running for you if you just land somewhere. Which is good. Alright, let's continue in this direction. Taking care not to bounce off the top of the screen, of course. Okay, anything else up here? Up! Shields! Yeah, starting to get a good feel for how this game works now. Did not mean to fire a Nova Bomb. I don't like that control. I don't like the double tap to Nova Bomb thing because it's too easy to set it off accidentally. Particularly if you're just trying to do several individual shots in succession like that, which you'll need to do if you want to be accurate. And you want to make sure that you're not going to accidentally take out some Oids. Yeah, that would have probably been better with like a button, either a button and direction combo, or just keeping it to the keyboard control that's available for it as well. But I don't think there's any way you can turn off that particular control, which is a shame. But it's a minor issue, and you can train yourself to be a bit more careful, I guess. Oh, what are you? I don't like the look of you. You can be destroyed wherever you are. Alright. There goes another accidental Nova Bomb, as you can see. Maybe it's just a controller I'm using. It's just... I don't know. Maybe I just suck. That's always a possibility. Always a distinct possibility. Oh! You don't... No! Oh, no. Right, so that's what got me that one time then. A big spiky thing appearing from the ground and destroying itself. And then showering me with shrapnel and destroying the 7 Oids that I picked up. Such a tragedy. Such a loss of artificial life. Well, this is our last life now, so... Final hope for the Oids. They've done quite a nice job there in making you feel bad when you when you mess up. Just like the way that they animate on your status bar, like they look so happy when you fill up your ship and you're ready to depart, and it's so saddening when they all catch fire and you're like, I did that. Oh. Under control, please. Right, carefully down here. Oh, this is an awkward little arrangement, isn't it? Let's get rid of those trees. Who needs trees anyway? Nice. It's always satisfying when you pull off a long-range shot like that. Right, you shooting at me. Oh, there's 2 of you. Can you just not, please? Thank you. And you can also have some... I'm sure I remember those sort of egg-looking things being something interesting. But maybe not. Maybe I'm imagining that. Carefully. 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 Pew! And down. I thought you were stuck for a minute. Right, time to leave. No extra life for me this time though. Oh, shield! Boing! Oh! What? Okay. So that's the other thing that those do. Those are also teleporters. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so I'm recharging my shield now. That seems to drain your fuel much more quickly. And also means that you can't use your shield while it's recharging. I'm here. Pick me up, please. Oh. Somehow managed to get an extra life from that. Oh, we're going to Oidromeda. I wonder if this is like a final level or something, because like the sort of flashing red. Oh no. Yeah, this is like an end sequence. My god, I finished Oids. And you get a bonus for all the ones you rescued, presumably. Nice little Atari logo over on the right there. That was quite a common thing for developers to sneak into a lot of games, particularly sci-fi games. If you've watched the 8-bit series that I've been doing, the Atari A to Z series, you'll remember Laserhawk. That had you destroying various rival computer manufacturers to Atari, and so on. So, like, Atari positioned as the good guys, despite sort of people having, well, lots of things to say about how the company was being run at the time. Oh, right. That's cool. Okay, so that is Oids from FTL and Mirrorsoft. So I really enjoyed that, actually. I'm going to have another go at that at some point, but I will spare you any further torture of admiring my lack of turn and thrust skills. Anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue a small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.